Hello and welcome to Stories from r/MaliciousCompliance from Reddit Reader. Our first story is, want me to cover up my tattoos? Sure. You never said what with. Let's set the scene. So this was a few years back. I have quite a few tattoos, basically all my chest, my upper back, top half sleeves and one on the inside of each forearm, about 15 centimeters across. These last two are what started it all. I worked for a cinema chain for a long time, always had tattoos. I landed myself a management role, more like a supervisor. The standard uniform was black shirt and black trousers. I prefer a short-sleeved shirt due to being a bigger guy and cinemas being bloody hot. My site manager quite liked my tattoos and other quirks that I had. My area manager, however, did not. She would come into the site, walk past 8 other staff with full-sleeve tattoos and make a beeline straight to me, stating that my tattoos need covering up and I quote, "They're not offensive, just a lot of people don't like them." Now my tattoos aren't offensive, they're just patterns. She informed me that I had to wear long sleeves to cover them up, otherwise I would face disciplinary action. I had read the employee handbook a few times because of other petty crap, so I know it was the manager's decision, my site manager, but she decided to overrule it. What she forgot was just because the normal retail staff had to wear black, management were allowed to wear white. Just nobody did, cause it was hard to keep clean. So what should I do? I know, let's go and buy the thinnest, cheapest, most see-through white long-sleeve shirt I can find. Now if you could only see her face when she came in next, when I'm basically wearing a shirt more see-through than tracing paper. I'm talking, you can see the color shift from my individual chest hairs. And all my tattoos are on show for everyone to see while stood behind the tills talking to customers. Needless to say, I got to wear my short-sleeved black shirt again after that. Our second story is, you want me to brush my curly hair for an important meeting? Sure. This happened months ago, but co-worker recently reminded me about it. Little background. I have very thick curly hair, and as should be obvious, I do not brush my hair when it's dry. That is not a thing you do when you have wavy or curly hair unless you want your hair to look like a bush. But people don't seem to get it. The company I worked at had recently hired a new manager, and while she was doing a relatively good job, she was insufferable. She always made snide comments about people's appearance, what they wear, etc. She even started policing how people dress. She once asked a co-worker to not wear suspenders because they were out of fashion and him wearing them made the company look bad. She always made passing comments about how unprofessional my big curly hair looked and thought maybe brushing would help. It does not. There's no dress code in the office. We can wear whatever we want as long as we look presentable. She also had no authority to police anyone. Anyways, we were preparing for an important meeting with clients that day and she comes up to me and says that I cannot go in with my hair looking like that. Bear in mind my hair looked awesome that day, even got a compliment from my boss, and hands me her brush, and says go brush your hair. So I did. I went into the meeting with a massive bush on my head. It looked ridiculous, frizzy and unruly, and the opposite of what she wanted. The horrified look on her face was worth the bad hair day. She couldn't help herself though and made one of her snide comments in front of everyone. How unprofessional of her. After the meeting ended, my boss came up to me and said while my hair looked awesome, it was unusual for me, and she saw me 10 minutes before looking completely different. I told her what happened. She was horrified, and apparently no one told her the new hire was doing this. Glad to say the new manager did not last very long. Our third story is, okay, we'll put the gate up, just not where you expected. Over the early 2000s we parceled up and sold a bunch of our old farmland for property development, creating a little cul-de-sac. The cul-de-sac was at the bottom of a steep hill, and parallel to it there was a main road that went down to a beach at the very bottom of the hill. Between the cul-de-sac and the main road was a set of apartments we rented out, their gardens and the beach shortcut. The beach shortcut was an old gate, about the width of a person, a sort of a back entrance to the property from the days of yore. This allowed people coming up from the beach on foot access without having to go all the way to the top of the steep hill to the main entrance. We left this area undeveloped and retained ownership of it, creating a small green belt and shortcut to the residents of the cul-de-sac and the apartments. This belt was about 20 feet wide and 60 feet long. The kids from one of the families in the cul-de-sac started using it as a play area. They'd play ball games there, which sometimes resulted in balls getting kicked out onto the road and down the hill. This family were overall a pain in the ass. They lived right at the very bottom of the cul-de-sac and were terrible for paying maintenance fees late and complaining about the other residents. Anyway, we kind of let this slide until the family asked if we could put a gate on the entrance to stop the kids from going out on the road after their ball. Now, this request presented a few problems. Mainly, the kids would likely just jump over the wall and get out there anyway. We suggested that maybe they could tell their kids just not to play on our property, but the family refused, stating that it was up to us to make it safe for their kids. The thing is, this is a fair point. If the kids fell or injured themselves in the area, then we'd probably be liable. So we kind of had to comply. But not only that, we had to make sure the kids were not in danger on our property at all. We actually had to go a step further than they anticipated. We had to fence the kids out of our property entirely. So yeah, we fenced off the entire green belt from the cul-de-sac. A huge 8-foot wooden structure with a door with a key code on it. We informed them that the door was to separate our private property from the public area, and the code was only given to the apartment residents and cul-de-sac residents we liked better than that family. So, not only were their kids prevented from playing there entirely, but the family no longer had access to the shortcut and had to climb the steep hill out to the main gate when going to and from the beach. In fact, this extended trip arguably made it more dangerous for the kids, as now they had to spend longer on the road and pass a pretty busy T-junction during these trips. The moral of the story is that if you have a neighbor that turns a blind eye to you using a part of their property, don't make it hard to keep turning that blind eye. Our final story is, not my money. So years ago I worked at Walmart and some of the time was at the service desk. Everybody knows that's where all the Karens go to raise Cain. Anyway, we had strict rules we had to follow. One of the rules was that if a customer returned something that cost over $20 without a receipt, we had to give them the refund on a Walmart gift card. If the customer wasn't happy with anything we said or did, they asked for a manager. 9 times out of 10 the manager would give them their money back. This always made the people working at the service desk look like we just wanted to give them a hard time. One too many customers complained and we had a meeting. The manager berated us for being so hard on the customers, even though we were only following what we had been taught to do. He said you'll act like it's your money, so I got mad. Not long after the meeting, a person walked in without a receipt and I gave them over $20 cash back. An assistant manager just happened to be passing by. He asked if I had given them their money back even though they didn't have a receipt. I said yep, it's not my money. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more Reddit content.